No matter what kind of project you have around the shop, if you're looking for some tips and some help, it's time for Sam's Garage, presented by ARP, with Master Mechanic Sam Namolo.
Hey, welcome to Sam's Garage. Well, with a few basic builder tools, you can be in the body business too. What we've got here is a 67 C10 Chevy truck. It's a long bed. On today's show, we're going to slice it and make it a short bed, frame and all. Going to require some help, so I got Sam Madavi from Madavi Motorsports and Steve Flanders from Brothers Truck Parts. Steve, tell us a little bit about this deal.
Who are you kidding? He doesn't even have to use those tools.
Well, here's the thing. This kit was born out of necessity. Long bed trucks are readily available, but short beds are drying up. And the short bed's a valuable truck, and side by side with a long bed, you're gonna pick up an extra $3,000 or $4,000 on a short bed compared to it. So what we've done is we've created a kit that slides right on the frame, template and everything, and that'll help this project become really easy for your garage builder and that sort of stuff.
That's great. So what's our first move?
So our first move is we're going to have to disconnect everything that connects the front half of the truck to the back. So we're talking about drive shaft, wiring, brake lines, that sort of stuff. And then we need to get this bed off.
All right, let's do that first.
Let's get started.
Okay, now we're going to start taking some of the components off that Steve addressed. First thing is the drive shaft. You got U-bolts holding the rear yoke on to the differential. Go ahead, take that off. But you got a two-piece shaft, so you got to drop the center support bearing. All right, get these nuts loose back here already. Once these are off, there any on the bottom? Get them off.
Bottom one's off already.
Should be able to pop the shaft. There we go. And to save your universal joint, U-bolts here. All right. Boy, there's some rust on those.
Oh, they're old. They've been in there forever.
Yep.
There you go. Good job.
All right. So when you pull the drive shaft out of the transmission, probably going to get some gear oil if the transmission's full. So we got a pan under there. Save all your parts. Once we do that, we'll go after the intermediate brake line, the hydraulic brake line. And again, you're going to lose some fluid. Have a pan or some rags down there. Go ahead, you want to take that flare off?
Don't forget to use a line wrench when you're working on your brake lines, because the last thing you want to do is risk stripping your hardware.
Get that on there, buddy?
Yep, got it on there. Well, that's pretty good considering how old it was.
It was pretty loose. Somebody's changed that. Okay, so now we've got some intermediate brake cables to take loose, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start taking some of the rivets out. We're going to use a air hammer, pretty loud. Cut that, drive them out. And we'll get all of these things off that we need to do, and then we'll be ready for our template. All right, get your air hammer and we'll go to town.
Okay.
Okay, so we've gotten everything taken off, and the next step is really just to support the frame. And you don't want to lift the frame up or have the frame loose. You want to just provide some support so that when you cut that frame up, it doesn't spring down on you or spring up. So we've done that. We put a jack stand on each side underneath the forwardmost bed mount, and we've done the same thing underneath the front cab mount. We've got the frame supported. Now what Sam's down here working on is he's going to support the rear part of the cab so we can get those rear cab bushings out. And we've taken the cab bolts out in the rear, and now he's just going to kind of gently lift up on the cab, get that jack stand under there so we can get the rear cab mounts out. Now once that's done, we're ready to start using our template. And this is really the heart of the kit that Brothers makes. This makes it so you can do this in your garage. This is one of those things where you're not going to be dancing your way through some Schlotsky YouTube video that some guy made. You're going to bolt this on, and this is going to walk you through the whole thing. And this is really the next thing we're going to do.
Sam's Garage, presented by ARP, is brought to you by 3M. For more information on 3M products, go to 3mcollision.com. FiTech, the leader in high-performance engine tuning products. LMC Truck, restore, maintain, customize. Parts and accessories for Chevy, GMC, Ford, and Dodge trucks and SUVs. By ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
Welcome back to Sam's Garage. Well, this is the template that we're going to use. This is one side, and you can see it's got a series of holes in it. There's a couple of 5/16 holes, and there's holes in the chassis that those are going to line up with that are already there. That positions our template. And you can see right here, we have 4 little holes, a couple here, there's some underneath. We're going to use those with a 1/8 inch pilot bit. We'll drill those, and then later we'll make them the right size. But that'll locate them perfectly. And then of course, you see these laser slots? We're going to cut this chassis using a Sawzall demolition saw. You cut right down there. We'll make one cut under the truck. When both sides are cut, we'll roll the chassis out and we'll do the other cut. Steve, show us how this thing goes on down there.
All right. Now these 2 holes right here, these are located in every chassis. That's going to be your alignment holes. And I'm going to line those up with these holes here marked on the template. We're going to slide the template over the frame like this. It should fit pretty snug. And then I'm going to slide this into place. And now I can see my holes through here. And we're going to bolt the template on using these holes. Boom, just like that. And we'll come under here, throw a couple nuts on. Get our template bolted in place.
So we'll drill some of those holes before we make the cut, right?
Yeah, the first thing you want to do is you want to get the 4 holes in the front drilled, and then you're going to make 1 hole underneath right here. So first thing we're going to do is drill these 4 holes, 1 hole here. Then what we're going to do is take this laser cut, run our Sawzall straight down it, and then we're going to move the entire frame out from under the cab, and we're going to have real good access to all the rest of the cutting and drilling we need to do.
Great. Let me know when you want this drill. There's a 1/8 bit in it. It's a brand new sharp one, so don't hurt yourself.
Couldn't be any worse than the brake fluid dripping in my eye right now. You just want to make sure it's solid under there. Push up. Yeah, you're okay. You just don't want it falling down. It's just, you know, we don't want to be lifting up, don't want it falling down, because the last thing you want is when you come through this last little bit, it goes doing and like, or you're good. We're good. So when you make the cut, you're going to want to make sure it goes straight down that laser cut. Don't walk off that laser cut at all. That's critical, because when you slide it back together, we've left some space in there for it to butt, but if you walk off the cut, your butt line's going to be ugly, and going to make, if it's too wide, it'll make it hard to weld, and if it's too narrow, we're going to end up in here with a grinder trying to straighten it out again. So straight down the laser line, it'll be perfect. There's a little wiggle room that we built into it.
All right, how you guys doing here? I took a little break and I come back and you don't have this apart yet?
No, actually, we're glad you took a break because this way it got done correctly.
Take that out of there.
We're right in the middle of jacking this thing up, so we can get these jack stands out of here. We're going to lower this down just a little bit.
Whoa, look at that.
And now that you're here, we're going to get you to help us drag this frame out from under this cab.
Look at that, how exciting that is.
That's pretty good.
How
So
scary.
The
here's
template's still in place.
Yep, well, here's why we did that. Because we could have done all this work that's still left to do while it was under there, but look, now it's right in front of us. We don't have to be dealing with dirt falling on our face or anything else. Now we got a few more holes to drill,
Right.
1 more cut to make,
Right.
and we're making some progress. Then we're gonna move our cab mounts and such once we get this centerpiece of the template taken out.
Okay, so we got to relocate the cab mount?
We're gonna relocate the cab mounts using the centerpiece of this template once we've hacked off this back section.
Great.
And we're also
Okay.
gonna remove our front bed mounts and then do a little bit of work at the back of the chassis.
Great. You ready to do some more with the Sawzall?
Yes, I am.
Are you getting tired?
No, it's
I mean, if I
being
need to take over.
No, it's worth it. We need the integrity.
All right, the next step is just to drill these holes while the template's still in place. So we're going to drill a hole here on top. There's one underneath and two here in the back. Okay. And then once we've got those drilled, we can go ahead and make the next cut on our template.
Great.
So
I better wait to start cutting these yet.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need to wait. Okay, so Sam, you cut this out for me. All this is it's forming a relief so we can clear a bunch of rivets here under the frame. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this piece of the template, line it up with the two rearmost cab mount holes that we cleared out earlier.
Right.
So we'll slide that on there like that. Once it's lined up, drop a bolt in there just to kind of hold it in place. And then we're gonna take the two holes that match these two holes back here, we're gonna drill those in the frame. And what that's gonna do is allow us to move our cab mount back to the right location. Once we've bolted those on, we're gonna use the rear bolt holes in the cab mount itself to make the next two holes. We're gonna be done.
This is like so simple.
Right, step by step.
Even Sam can do this.
Okay guys, we've got our cab mounts moved back. Next thing is to put our C channels in. Sam's got this one bolted in. Me and Sam are gonna line this one up. Now, this is gonna take 8, 10 bolts per side. It's very structural, heavy duty C channel. If you don't wanna weld it in, you're good to go. If you do wanna weld it in and you can weld, go ahead and line it up, weld on your butt weld. Or if you don't know how to weld, you can also drive it down to your local muffler shop, give the guy a couple bucks, let him handle it for you.
And it's going to be plenty strong enough for you to do that.
But it's plenty strong enough to do it just with the bolts. Yep.
This is, so far, step by step, pretty darn easy.
Pretty darn easy. And the nice thing is the bolts are in such precision spots that when we slide it back together, the frame's going to be square. You're not going to have to worry about whether it's level or square because the bolts are going to line it up perfectly. What Sam's doing right now is he's cleaning up the edges so we can make a nice clean material for our weld, as well as he's making sure that our cuts are completely square so that we don't have a little extra material in there when we try to push the two halves of frame together. We don't want any extra that's going to keep us from getting close enough. So making sure the edges are square and just cleaning that frame up so we get a good weld.
You know, Steve, it wasn't too long ago when we rolled this out.
I know, we're about to roll it back in. So all we're going to do now is just roll it up. Sam's going to help us push that hard fuel line right through the little V in the cross member here. Let me get it a little lower. There we go.
Line it over there a little bit.
I can't see where we're headed, so we're going to have
Got to go up just a shade.
just a shade up. All right.
Hold it, hold it.
All right, Sam. Last step for our template here is we're going to use it to mark the rear of the frame, relocate our bed mount hole, and chop the frame off. So I'm going to take this, line it up at the rear of the frame, if you don't mind scribing that laser cut right here,
Okay.
and then make a scribe line inside that oval hole for me.
That ought to do it.
Yeah.
Can't get the carbide scribe in there, but I can get the carbide scribe in here. All we need now is an oval drill bit. I think Sam's got some of those.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Great.
All right, we're good. Now we're just going to hack this off. Be helpful to use a square here so that we're making sure we're dropping a straight line.
All right.
We're going to hack the back end half of the frame off and then drill this oval hole.
I'll tell you what, having the help of these guys, this thing is done. It's a short bed pickup truck, one day.
One day.
A little bit of work, a little bit of maneuver. Now, ahead of time, this beautiful wood kit, this is oak. I stained it, sanded it, put some varnish on it, urethane. It looks great. Take your time. Got nice stainless steel strips.
That's right. Hey, some guys even take and spray a automotive clear coat on there and color sand it. They get crazy with that wood sometimes.
Oh yeah, I like a semi-gloss, and that's what this is. You can make it as glossy as you want, but there's some tips and tricks, and you get all the instructions with it. And so make sure you follow them. We're going to top this off with Brothers Truck Parts has got LED tail lights. We've got backup lights, electronic flashers, the wheel opening moldings, all the side moldings. So Sam, you got a little paint work to do here.
You know what? It's absolutely worth it because this turned out to be a really, really nice job.
Look at this truck. It's as hot as can be. And the original tailgate will go on it.
Yep.
The tailgate hinges, put all that stuff on it, plug your wire and harness back in. The only thing we've got left to do is go to a drive shaft shop, have them chop 12 inches out of the shaft and balance it. Have them put new U-joints in the center support bearing, and you're ready to go down the road.
That's right.
And you want to make sure to chop the front portion of the drive shaft off. And you know what? This turned out to be a really, really nice, simple job, considering what we just did.
Absolutely.
That's
so don't
true.
be intimidated. Nice kit.
An
nice
afternoon
job.
and a couple buddies. No
That's
problem.
right. Okay, well, that's all we have time for right now. We're going to take a quick break. We got more coming here in Sam's Garage, so stick around.
Sam's Garage, presented by ARP, is brought to you by Advertising Edge, the official uniform of the NHRA. By HE&M Saw, the saw that cuts straight. By Hedman Performance Group, Hedman Headers, Transdap, and Hamburgers Performance, quality automotive products since 1954. By ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
Doing a little maintenance here, you know the best thing you can do, take care of your car, whether it be your hot rod, your daily driver, your race rig. Change the oil and filter on a regular basis and use a high quality oil. What I'm using here is, this is Precision Turbo and Engine Oil from HPL with boosted technology. They use the highest quality base stocks, and they've got an additive package that goes anywhere, any shear, any foam. It's got high alkalinity, so you're not going to get the corrosion and sludge buildup in the motor. And you know, one of the things that robs you of power and performance is you get that sludge buildup around the rings and the piston skirt area. Let's not only prevent it, but it'll take care of what's already there. And they make all kinds of oil. They got engine assembly lube. They've got full synthetic gear oil. Their motor oils are full synthetic. And that's more important today in your own car, even your daily driver. If it calls for like a Euro spec oil, this is a 10W60. And these folks here at HPL, they make all kinds of oil. From 0W3 all the way up to straight 70 weight. They make racing automatic transmission fluid. They make hydraulic oil, shock oil, specialty oils. What I'm using is their 15W40. They also, by the way, make a break-in oil. So when you build a motor, and I use it all the time, when you build a motor, you run it, you break it in, there's nothing like it. So no matter what you're driving, when it comes to oil, HPL's got an oil for you. Continuing on, like I promised you with our Ford project, this is when we install the FiTech EFI system. And one of the things I've done is right here in our Hedman headers, we have the collectors. I'm going to run some exhaust pipes on this. And you'll notice I've got the wideband oxygen sensor, which comes in a nice plug. Put a little hook here to hold it out of the way. You want to follow the instructions. The instructions are very precise. And the thing you want to do is you want to have this at an angle. You don't want it laying flat so it doesn't get moisture contamination. Of course, we're going to have lots of exhaust on this, but this thing needs to be at least 8 to 10 inches away from the end of any exhaust pipe so you don't pull any air in and fool the oxygen sensor. We got the oxygen sensor mounted. The next thing is the fuel system. Let me turn this around and show you what I've done. They make a complete fuel pump, fuel filters, everything you need to plumb the system. Comes with nice twist lock fittings and AN fittings. Okay, nice black hose. And you can see, this is a return system. We've got number 8 line. This is our pickup from the tank. Comes to the 8 AN fittings. This is a big pre-filter. You want to filter the fuel before it goes to this high pressure pump. The pump comes with a nice billet bracket that you can mount to your chassis. That should be below the level of the tank or as close to it as possible. I made a little bracket here to hold it on the side of the Easy Run stand. I got the ground wire on it already. Continuing on, we have a post filter. These filters all have the flow marked on them. And that'll come up and feed our fuel injection unit. And then the return line comes back to the tank. Now, with that being said, time for me to pull some of this tape off of here and we'll install the EFI system from FiTech. This FiTech electronic fuel injection is a beautiful piece. We'll take a gasket just like a carburetor. You never need to buy a carburetor again. Put this on in place of it. It's all self-contained. You get the injectors, the processor, all of your sensors. and just set it down and bolt it down like a carburetor. And of course, this is your wire harness that's going to go back. You can see this is our return line. That'll hook up here. And again, these are nice aluminum AN fittings. They're real high quality. Make sure you use your AN wrench. I'm not going to tighten these up yet, but don't put a regular wrench on them and scar the fittings all up. I like to get them started. We got 4 bolts to put in, and that'll secure it to the manifold, just like a carburetor. You can use studs if your carburetors already get studs. I happen to like bolts. I'll put these in. And by the way, this system here is using a return, feeding from the tank through the EFI unit and full return. If you've got a car that's got a return line in the tank, this works out real easy. If you're converting from a carburetor, let me show you a little thing they have here. This is really awesome. This is FiTech's Fuel Command Center. If you don't want to drop your tank, put a return line, put another fitting in the tank, all you do on a carbureted engine where you'd have your fuel pump line come from the pump to the carburetor, you go in here to low in. It's got a high pressure pump that sits in fuel, quiet, cool, lasts a long time. High pressure comes out, you got your regulator, your gauges, a regulator. Of course, you need to vent it. But this is a great way to go, mounts under the hood, save you a lot of work. So that's FiTech's Fuel Command Center. Now bolt these down, and you follow the instructions, and it tells you exactly where the wires go. It's very simple wiring. We'll hook it up step by step, plug in our oxygen sensor, hook up our fuel lines, put some fuel in the Easy Run engine test stand fuel tank, and then of course, we'll be pretty much ready to run it. So we'll wire this up. I'll hook up all the linkage, hook up the throttle control. Next week, we'll go ahead and we'll oil up the engine, set the distributor in time, put the exhaust system on it. We should be ready to fire this baby up and watch this thing run. Remember, it's self-tuning. Never buy a carburetor again. Get yourself a FiTech EFI unit. Hope you learned something this week. See you next time here at Sam's Garage.